Hola, ¿cómo estás? Soy Jim G y esto es una película de Football Manager 20, una... ¿Cómo se dice? Save en español. No sé. Una save de Atlético de Madrid con Football Manager 20. Y mi español es muy grande, mi italiano, pero es una mierda. Venga. Viva Atleti! Is there no end to this man's talents? That's what you're thinking. I know it. That's what you're all thinking. Well, there is an end to my talents, and that's it there. I dropped my headphones, you see, making a complete prick of myself now. Yeah, there is an end to my talents, and it's that much Spanish, basically. Hopefully, I won't be doing too much more Spanish throughout the series, but there we go. I've hooked a few Spanish viewers in there. They're kind of sympathetic towards me now. Simpatico. Atletico Madrid, for those of you that don't know, professional Spanish football club, one of the best three clubs in Spain. I can't imagine there's many people that don't already know this, but I'll go through it anyway. One of the best three clubs in Spain, along with, obviously, Barcelona, Real Madrid, both big rivals as well. They're a club with a lot of history, but they're also a club that perhaps have always been on the heels of those big two, Barcelona and Real. There's always been this duopoly in Spain. Those two teams have won most of the cups. And, actually, Atleti have done okay. They've still won 10 La Liga titles, but a lot of that was in the past. I think if I hover over it, it'll say, yeah, so you can see the only relatively recent ones they've won is 2014, and then you have to go back to 1996 for the last time that they won La Liga, and then, you're back in the 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s. It's a club that has the history, but it was all quite a long time ago. So the aim for this save really is to try and bring that glory back to Atleti, try and win the league with Atleti, and continue to do so, and to topple this duopoly, which arguably already has been toppled technically in real life. It's now spoken of as there being three big clubs in Spain rather than two, but my aim is to cement that. Now that's easier said than done, obviously. Atleti have got a very good team, very good squad, but it's quite thin, and we'll get onto that in a minute. But first of all, let's have a quick look at the media prediction. So media prediction is third. So the media don't think we're going to win the league this season. However, the club, let's go and have a look at the club vision here. So this is the new feature in Football Manager 20. This club vision section gives you a kind of 5-year plan for the club, essentially. So it tells you what they want to achieve by the end of this current season. We've got here what they want to achieve by the end of the 2020-21 season, and then so on all the way through for the next 5 years. It's pretty intense. By the end of the current season, they expect us to have won the Liga and reach the quarterfinals of the Champions League, which is going to be incredibly difficult. So the other things to notice here is that there's kind of these ongoing things, which is maintain self-sustainability, sign young players to develop for profit, and work within wage budget. I'm famous for working within wage budgets. It's a little bit worrying, it's a little bit concerning. It's not the kind of save that I would normally do because it's so high pressure. I like to craft and build and construct something from scratch, like buy players, bring youth through. And I can still do that with this team. It's just that I could also get sacked in the first season. It's weird. I really like this club vision because it's making me shit myself. Atlético de Madrid play in La Liga, and they play in the Estadio Wanda Metropolitano in Madrid, not surprisingly. They have a worldwide reputation, founded in 1903, professional status, excellent training facilities, great youth facilities. The finances are secure, despite the fact that just before I joined the club, just before I joined the club, they made a big sale, sold Griezmann. In fact, let's go in transfers and see if we can have a look at this. Out. How much did we get for Griezmann? There we go. Antoine Griezmann to Barcelona for 120 million in what was actually quite a controversial deal. And again, I mentioned it in the blog post. I won't go into it here because it's too complex, but essentially there's all this stuff about Barcelona tapping up Griezmann and Griezmann kind of going along with it, essentially. So he's a little twat. We don't like him. And then we made a load of signings before I arrived as well. So basically that 125 million went straight back out again on this guy, Joao Felix, the youngster, a 19-year-old. And I would take a 19-year-old Joao Felix over a 28-year-old Antoine Griezmann any day. We're going to look at the players anyway. We might as well get in there and look at Joao Felix straight away. Look at this boy. I don't think I've had a player as good as him, or with as much potential as him, in Football Manager for a very long time. So I'm excited to see what this guy can do. He's also incredibly versatile. He can play in so many positions. Look at this. He can play on the right, he can play on the left, he can play in the centre of midfield, attacking, or just central midfield there. Or he can play up front, which is great. And I've found that about quite a few players in this squad. They're quite versatile. They can play all over the place. We've got Koke and Saul as well, who can play on the wings, they can play in the centre, and they can even play in central defence if needs be. They're just that good. And this simply cannot be ignored. Flair 19. Oh, baby. Yes. So we'll have a quick look at the squad. I don't want to go into too much detail because it'll be really boring. And also, we'll get to know these players as the season progresses. But there's a couple of players I do want to pick out. And there's also one thing in particular that I want to address. And that is that we don't have much depth, or we don't have as much depth as I would like. We've got two goalkeepers. Jan Oblak, obviously incredible goalkeeper, arguably the best goalkeeper in the world at the moment. And I say arguably, someone will argue with me about that in the comments, oh, it's Edison, oh, it's whoever. No, it's probably this guy, I think. And here's why. Check out this.
Chicharito chuta fuera. No me puedo creer.
¡Qué barbaridad!
Una triple.
¡Qué barbaridad!
Imposible.
Well, that's not the only reason why, but that's pretty good, isn't it? So we've got him. That's good. So we've only got 4 natural central defenders. One of those is someone who I've brought in on loan. So before I brought this guy in, we only had 3. Okay, we've got some others who can play in that position, like it says Kieran Trippier can play in that position, but do you really want to play Kieran Trippier as a centre-back? Not really. We don't want to be left in that situation, and we do, as you can see, have a couple of got a minor injury there, or recovering from an injury, and we've got a few others injured at the moment. We need to strengthen that area. Similarly, in midfield, it's the same kind of thing. We've got a lot of players that can play in a lot of positions. I mean, take a look at Saul, for example. Look how many positions Saul can play in. I mean, he can play as a defender if needs be. It's useful that we've got him and players like that who can play in that many positions and work as cover, but it makes it a little bit worrying because if we get 2 or 3 injuries in one position on the pitch, we could end up in a little bit of trouble. So that's something I'm a little bit concerned about, because also we don't have a huge transfer budget. And also, as I'm finding when I'm looking for transfers at the moment, I'm not used to signing people for clubs of this level. And it's really hard because you need to either spend a lot of money or search in a lot of detail and find someone who's incredibly good but flown under the radar. So then again on the wings we've got some decent players. We've got Thomas Lemar is worth drawing attention to. He's kind of someone who you've probably heard of before, but he's got some pretty good attributes. Probably our best left winger. There's Vitolo as well. Vitolo's getting on a little bit now though, so potentially Lemar is the best left winger. And then on the right we have Angel Correa, who's also great. And again, Joao Felix as well. Remember, Joao Felix can drop into either of those roles if needs be. And then up front, we've got the beast, the absolute monster, Diego Costa, master of the dark arts. He should be in Harry Potter or something, not this. Or actually, Harry Potter, he'd fucking shit Harry Potter. He'd kill him. He'd kill Harry Potter. He'd kill Voldemort. He'd kill Harry Potter. He'd kill all of them. I don't even like Harry Potter. I don't even know why I'm using that as a reference. He's a very good player, so fingers crossed. But he is 30 years old now, so hopefully he's not going to pick up any injuries. He likes to wind up opponents, which is always a little bit risky, because that might work in real life, but how's that going to work in Football Manager? Is he just going to keep getting sent off all the time? I hope that his dark arts translate well. And then we've also got Alvaro Morata. And Alvaro Morata is a weird one because I never really feel like he's reached his full potential anywhere, really. I mean, if you look at his career at Chelsea, 31 appearances, 11 goals. It's not bad, but it's not as good as someone like him should probably be achieving. And I don't know why, but for some reason in my head, I feel like all of those goals were scored in a sort of a similar clump of time. Like he had a really good spell of form and then he didn't score for ages. I don't know if I'm imagining that or what, but that's how I remember it. But potentially he could be brilliant. So hopefully, again, Football Manager interprets this in a better way, and what happens is that the match engine allows him to show his full potential. So we'll see. I hope so. So the take home of that, if you will, is we don't have much depth. We've got some very good players, but we don't have much depth. So if we do get injuries in certain positions, like if we get injuries at striker, we're fucked. If we get injuries at central defender, we're fucked. So I need to either bring people in, which I haven't been very good at the moment, or be fucked. So kind of slightly related to that, let's have a quick look at how we translate against other teams in La Liga. So if we look in terms of all positions, we are the strongest. We also have the highest work rate in La Liga, the best leadership, and what's this one? The best aggression. That's probably just Diego Costa on his own. And we're doing okay in teamwork. We're not too bad in passing. We could be better in first touch. And we're not too bad in decisions either. The defence, we're the best at marking. Positioning's okay. It all looks it's all above average, as you would expect. It's all fairly high. Midfield, again, we're above average. But if you're thinking about this in terms of the top 3 teams in the division, who are going to be our competition, Real and Barcelona, they're probably a little bit better than us in this area, I would imagine. I could be wrong, but I would imagine that's the case. And again, in attack, we're fairly weak, and I think that's probably due to the amount of strikers we have rather than the quality of the strikers. So we've got 2 very good strikers, or 3 if you include Joao Felix, but if we were to sign another good striker, that would probably go up a little bit. Physical, we're good in quite a few areas there. Mental is impressive though. Good aggression, good leadership, good positioning and work rate. From this and from our squad, what I gauge is that this is a team that could win La Liga, but probably not the team that should win La Liga. We're the underdogs of the top 3. Real are probably more likely to win it. Barca are probably more likely to win it. The media prediction is probably right, 3rd. But 3rd's not going to be good enough for me because the board want me to win La Liga in the first season. And so I've had to be very clever with the formation that I use. And this is it. Are you ready to see something spectacular? Here we go. Look how much I've innovated here. Yes, it's a 4-4-2. It's a classic 4-4-2. Okay, now you might think there's other ways we could go about this, and there probably are. I've created this from scratch based on the players that we have. Atleti actually already play a 4-4-2 under Simeone, and really a lot of this is because I want to play wing play. Otherwise, I would have gone with something like this, which is my secondary formation. But actually what I want to do is I want to use those wings because we've got Lamar and we've got Correa on the wings, and Koke and Saul are more than capable of just holding the midfield and just dictating the play from midfield. So these guys can bomb on, and these two can just hang around and casually take the ball off people and pass it amongst themselves. Now one thing you'll notice is that, and this is my preferred starting 11, I think, at this point. One thing you'll notice is that Joao Felix isn't actually in there at the moment. That's going to be a bit of an issue moving forward. What I intend to do is to see how Costa and Morata perform together. If one of them starts to piss me off, Felix can come in. If Correa starts to piss me off, Felix can come in. If Lamar starts to piss me off, Felix can come in. I feel like I've got to give these guys a chance, because at the end of the day, Felix is only 19. There's time for him to develop. There's time for him to get into this team. So hopefully that's going to happen. Felipe, the defender here, is injured. He probably would be first choice. Lodi, and we've got Bill Lodi and Kieran. Why do I keep saying Kieran Trippier? Kieran Trippier. I'm just gonna call him Trippier. We've got Trippier, Trips. Let's call him Trips. We've got Trips on the wing there. We're attacking on the wings. Wing backs overlapping, and then we've got the 2 beasts up front to slot it in the net. I've still got some space in my staff, I've still got a couple of coaching spots there and a couple of recruitment spots. Well, more than a couple of recruitment spots there. But the first thing I did when I came in is I want to delegate as much of this as possible, and I have done. So the first thing that I did when I came in, I've left the assistant manager in place. I've brought a couple of scouts in. I've brought a couple of coaching people in. But the other thing that I've done is I have signed Danilo Marques Vicente da Silva. And he's the technical director, judging staff ability 19, negotiating 19, player potential 19, player ability 19, motivating 20, man management 20, judging team data 19. He's just perfect, and he's on an intensive language course at the moment. But he has been tasked with recruiting the rest of the staff. The problem is he's being a right slow dickhead about it, and I'm kind of starting to think the season's starting soon. And he hasn't got all of this recruitment team in place. We're trying to scout for players, and it's not really working. There's still some coaching spots. There's still some medical spots. And I was kind of hoping that he would sort all this out before the season starts. But it doesn't look like he is. So I'm gonna hold out and see how he goes. At the end of the day, hopefully it doesn't make too much difference. But yeah, we haven't got long left. Let's look at the schedule. We've got one more friendly against Wolfsburg. Then we've got the first game of La Liga against Atlético Bilbao. While we're here, let's have a chat about these friendly results. Actually, in all of these games, we've had by far the most shots. Possession has been pretty similar, but we've had by far the most shots and just not converted them. And I'm talking like 50 shots in some games to 8 or something. I mean, that extreme. And yet, we've converted 2. So that's something we need to think about, and I need to try and work out why that's happening. Evident in the game against QPR, a team that we should be destroying, and we won 4-2, and that seems like, fairly comfortable, but we shouldn't have conceded those 2 goals. And also, it was 2-2 for a long period of time, and it wasn't until Joao Felix got an 80th minute goal and a 93rd minute goal that it became 2-4 in the end. The performances have been great, but we should have won by more. Now, it's only friendlies, so, let's not get too worried. A 2-0 win over Gaz Ajaccio, 2-0 win over Hanover. Rennes, we lost. Awkward, because again, we had more shots, we had more possession, we were by far the better team. So I tried not to get too worried about that, and then a win against Mönchengladbach and a win against Dortmund really helped bring my confidence back up again, because they had Sancho, Ruiz, Brun Larsen and Goetze up front, with Witsel there as well and some others. So it wasn't like they were playing a weakened team. We're pretty much ready to go, I think. I'm happy with the formation. I've got an alternative formation for if we want to go a little bit more attacking, throw a few more players forward. And yeah, we need to start with a win next week. So that will be the next game on the channel, the first game of La Liga. And like I said, we need to start with a win, because nowadays winning La Liga, like many other leagues in Europe, like the Premier League, like the Bundesliga, like Serie A, means winning pretty much every game you play. Losing 2 or 3 games can be the difference between first and second place. Losing 1 game can be the difference between first and second place, and it could even come down to playing Real or Barca for the title if all goes according to plan. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably be sacked by Christmas. Fuck it, vamos, let's go. Viva Atleti! Viva Atleti!